There's a reason why people are afraid to grow. It's because nobody tells them that it's gonna be uncomfortable, that you have to be outside of your comfort box in order to grow, or else you're just going to be confined in this perimeter, in this area, and you're not going to grow if you stay within that box. And as you grow, eventually your comfort box will expand. The perimeters will expand. But there will always be something that will make you uncomfortable. And it doesn't initially mean the things that make you uncomfortable are the things you should go after. But in order to grow, that means you're going to have to experience things that you have never experienced before. So you're going to be uncomfortable because you've never done it before. Or you haven't done it enough to the point where you could withstand it. To the point where you could be comfortable while uncomfortable. That's the thing people are missing these days. They're searching for comfort instead of growing. They're lacking growth because they're looking for things that make them comfortable, because they either never had a source of comfort, or that's all they know, or whatever, or other reasons. I'm not going to list them all because I honestly don't know all of them, because I don't have all the answers. But I will share with you what I do know, and that's what I'm doing. Examples where I was unsure or uncomfortable of doing something, but I knew if I did it, I will grow, was switching high schools for my last year of high school. In fact, I even thought of going to a different high school than my hometown before I even started high school. But I was so uncomfortable with that idea that I pushed it away instead of taking the chance. Even though I got the opportunity to go to another school my senior year, every once in a while I'll think, what if I went to a different school than my hometown at the beginning of my high school career? Who would I be? Because I know I'll be better. But I'm not living that life, so I don't focus much on it. What I do focus from that part of my life is that even though an opportunity may seem uncomfortable, but you know it will benefit you in some sort of way, do it. Because you may not have the chance like I did, where 3 years down the road, or how many times down the road, you may not get that opportunity again. So when you see an open door, and you know if you walk through that door, great things will happen. Maybe not instantly, but you will be a better version of yourself than if you stay put, than if you let that door close on you. Because once a door is closed, it's not guaranteed that it's going to open again. It could get jammed. It could get locked from the outside in, from the inside out. Doors could malfunction. If it's too cold outside, the gears could be frozen. If it's too hot, it could be too hot to even touch, to even turn the door, to open, to push, to pull. However you open doors these days. If you want to grow, you're gonna do things that you may not like, things that make you uncomfortable. But they won't always make you uncomfortable. At the time being, yeah, you're gonna be uncomfortable because it's something new, it's something you've never done. Nobody expects you to be comfortable with something you've never done in your life. And if they do, then that's not realistic. Realistic is knowing that no matter what job you choose, it's gonna be hard, because no job is easy. But someone has to do the work. Someone chooses to take the difficulties of that occupation and work towards it as their career, because they know the importance behind it, and that is their drive, or at least a part of it. It has to be some portion of their drive if they're going to dedicate a good chunk of their life to do it. No matter the length of time. So if you want to grow, start with something that makes you uncomfortable, even if it's something small, because those small things add up. Something that made me uncomfortable something that still makes me uncomfortable is speaking in front of a class. But I practice techniques that I've learned throughout my years, because I know I could practice a good speech and memorize it and everything. But then I'm in front of a class, and sometimes I may freeze. But a way that I work around that is taking the opportunity to speak in front of class when I can, when everyone's just sitting and I'm not standing, or not all the attention's on me. I take the chance to raise my hand to answer a question, because that helps. But I also, when I have to present, I will scan the wall right above everyone's head so I don't have to look directly at them, because I notice a thing. If I look right at them, then sometimes I freeze. Sometimes. I used to a lot when I was younger, but now as I've grown, as I had more opportunities to speak in front of a class, I have gotten better. Am I perfect? No. But nobody is the true world's definition of perfect. Not if they truly work at something. And that is what I'm doing. I am working at something that I am uncomfortable with, because I know it's essential for my life. Because I know someday, outside of school, I'm going to have to talk in front of a group. So I'm taking the opportunities while I am in school to do it. And the only person who's honestly judging me is the person who is grading me on my presentation. And I know they are, because it's a grade and it was in the syllabus. And that was something small. And it started in middle school. In 7th grade, I remember I had to recite my whole essay in front of the whole class, and we had to dress up nicely and present it. And even though we were allowed to have our piece of paper in front of us, I memorized all 3 pages, even though I highlighted certain points. And the only time I looked at my piece of paper is when I forgot what I was saying, because I looked over and I made eye contact with somebody, and then I kind of spaced out. But then I looked, I knew somewhat where I was. I memorized the whole 3 pages, that I even knew when to turn when I wasn't even looking at the piece of paper. So I quickly looked down, I looked at a piece I highlighted, and I continued on and didn't even look at the piece of paper ever again. But I got used to it, and I made a goal for myself to scan the wall, sure. But every once in a while, I should make eye contact with, or at least look at my peer's face, so I could get used to that. Because if I keep scanning the wall, I'm never really gonna get used to talking in front of a group. And that's what I think what some teachers fail to discuss when they bring up a presentation. They say, oh, just scan the wall. scan right above everyone's heads. But that's not going to teach anybody anything until they get used to the uncomfortableness of once in a while taking a glance at the people's faces. And a thing that's helpful about looking at people's faces, you read their emotions, so that could alternate your speech, could alternate your presentation into, is what you're saying effective, or do you have to approach it in a different way or say it in a different style so you can get to your audience better? Because sure, every presentation is just to get the grade, but if you could leave an impact on the people who are listening to it, then that's a bonus. So get used to the uncomfortable every once in a while. Gradually do it. Not every day you have to be in an uncomfortable situation, but if you know you're given the opportunity to do something you're uncomfortable, but you know that thing will help you grow, do it. Because eventually you'll get comfortable with that uncomfortable situation, even though, for me, I still get nervous speaking in front of a class. I recently, depending on when this video came out, for my French final, we had a presentation, 5 minutes, 10, but it was with a partner, so each of us had to speak for 5 minutes, but we were bouncing off of each other, and we had this whole script. And I had the whole thing memorized, but it was either a day or two before I had to present it. And I remember being on the phone call with my mom discussing this. And then after ending the phone call, I realized how nervous I really was, because I was aware of what happened in the past, of how I might freeze. But I still got through the presentation, but I was afraid I might freeze again. And I experienced the nerves before the presentation, and then minutes before the presentation is because my partner and I were the last ones to go that day. As we watched the other groups present, our nerves kept racking up. And then it was our turn to present, and we were a little shaky. But once we started the presentation, it went by like every one of our rehearsals. In fact, it was better than our rehearsals that we did the night before, that we did the night before that. Because we were prepared. We knew what we were talking about. And sure, we had a script. Did we go word by word? No, because we alternated as we watched the other groups go. In fact, my partner incorporated something because she gathered new information by watching these other groups. So she's like, this will make it funny and more entertaining for everyone in the class. So she embedded it into our presentation and it made it better. But it was never scripted. And honestly, we got a high grade on that presentation. Was it 100? No. Was it close? Definitely. And I think the only thing we honestly got marked off was because we talked maybe a little too fast. We didn't quite hit the 10-minute mark. But we were like 9 minutes. And somewhere in between that. Because we timed ourselves. We knew how long it took us to get through the presentation. And not at one point it took us 10 minutes. But we knew our presentation was solid, so we didn't change it. And we paced ourselves. When we spoke in front of our class, it was the first time we talked slow while presenting our information to make sure everyone understood what we were saying. Also to hit the 10 minutes mark. But if you're just rushing through everything you're saying, nobody's going to understand what you say until you take the time and pronounce each word, because each word you say is important. And once you realize that point, you don't have to say much. You just have to say enough to it gets to your audience's minds so their brains could start working and start analyzing what you have spoken. So if you take anything out of this video, if you take anything away from this video, take this. Every once in a while, I'd say at least once a month, or 2 or 3, but don't go over 3. At least every 3 months, do something that makes you uncomfortable, as small, as big as it is. Do it. Because if you do something that makes you uncomfortable, if you do that thing enough, eventually you're going to have to find something that makes you even more uncomfortable, because that uncomfortable thing eventually, it could be uncomfortable, but you got used to that uncomfortableness. You got used to your feelings. You start to analyze when you start to feel certain things before you start to do it, or as you're doing that activity, or even after, and you begin to register that it's okay that you do that, because you know you're capable of doing that event, even with the nerves, even with the way you feel, because you've done it before, because you let yourself do it before. Your mind is a powerful thing, meaning if you really don't want to do something, you're not gonna ever do it. But if you want to, your mind will do everything that it's capable to make sure you succeed in that thing. I hope this helped some of you today. And if there's anything you want me to speak more on, if there's anything you want me to clarify that was spoken in this video, please leave a comment below. Also, give it a thumbs up. And be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I make more videos. When I post more videos like this, when I go live, when I do my shorts, and when I post in the community tab. Until then, we'll see y'all next time. Bye, y'all.